It's finally time! Welcome everyone to Chapter 20, the ultimate showdown where we square off against Hardin and 68 of his soldier friends. I could make a joke about that, but I like to keep things serious and focused on the gameplay here on this channel. With the power of God, meaning Garnet, and anime, meaning an intense, thinly veiled hatred for the female gender on his side, Hardin is now stronger than ever. He has maxed out stats and holds the 1-2 range regalia weapon, the Derogatory, so he's very tough to take out. Deployed alongside him are tons of powerful enemies such as swarm bishops. This guy with the glower tome, which is like Luna except instead of having 0 might, it has 10 might. And 34 entire goddamned reinforcements, most of whom being these captain monstrosities that spawn 6 at a time. So in this map we're basically fighting 18 Sigurds. Chests are scattered across the map containing many brave weapons as well as a new staff. Lastly, the final boss of Shadow Dragon is here too, cause why not? Fuck you is why. I forge an actual meaningful weapon this time, dumping over 10,000 gold to add +6 might onto the poleaxe to one-shot the paladin reinforcements. They're so beefy that even my uber forged Rider's Bane can't one-shot, which is just so absurd to think about. I also reclassed Merrick to a Swordmaster for extra speed. I did this earlier with Lyn, but I sometimes reclass my mages to Swordmaster because they make good use of the 11 swords I've collected all game. For when a Sage's 25 speed cap just doesn't cut it. When the map starts, Hardin channels his divorced energy to give us a Sephiroth speech about how the world needs to burn and all the humans need to die. The person he's speaking to is the Paladin Medea, attempted coup organizer, current occupation prisoner. In this castle, once again, just like in the last war. Immediately beginning this map, I burn an incredibly valuable rescue use on her. A character I won't use her combat ever, because I'm a bit fond of her. Obstacle number 1, this room. I have to deal with all of these enemies while being pelted by longbow snipers and swarm tomes. I redeployed the old Katria Chris light rune trick to act as cover for my other units and charge in on the following turn. Luke starts us off by double critting this guy who incidentally is bulky enough to survive a crit despite not even being at full HP. Swordmaster Pala follows up with a kill of her own. Chris, Sirius, Sida, and Marth crit kill 4 dudes back to back. If you couldn't tell by now, this is one of those FE games where enemies don't have luck, so player units have a lot of crit. With that victory, I won space away from the paladin reinforcements, which is very important. My next objective is to make this space habitable for my squishies by taking out the southern siege and ranged weapons. Chris and transformed Chris as a berserker have such low resistance that they act as lightning rods for the swarm bishops, which is a great thing as their 60 HP can sponge those hits much better than anyone else. Leave it to Chris to turn a supposed weakness into a strength. Marth opens the door so that the treasure room's inhabitants can be killed by Merrick, Zane, and Sirius. Approaching the throne initiates a conversation with Hardin where he epically roasts Marth. Jeez, Hardin is so cool and witty and very epic too. What is not cool or epic is the arrival of 14 ambush spawns. Since there are more of them coming and they have higher movement, I choose to deal with the paladins first. Remember that 18 of them will spawn over the course of 3 turns, so getting overwhelmed is a real risk I need to mitigate as much as possible. I clear the path with Chris and Zane, while at the same time ending their turns blocking the entrance, cutting off the paladins indoors who are picked off by my army, now safe from follow-up attacks. I cut off the cut-off paladins' heads and equip weak hand axes on the Chris's, causing them to get stuck in this choke. Over the course of the next few turns, I whittle down the 12 paladins until only 8 remain, after which I begin yet another all-out assault. Luke draws first blood, and Zane takes a poleaxe for second blood, beating Merrick's damage record back in chapter 17 with a 183 damage critical. He passes the Star Sphere to Sirius, who gives it to Katria, who gives it to Chris, who gives it back to Zane again, oh welcome back, who gives it to Pala, where it will remain this turn. A lot of the characters mentioned need the Star Sphere to meet the doubling threshold or to otherwise boost their crit chance. The last guy I can take out the old-fashioned way by combining with Merrick and Marth. That was a lot of effort, but I'm not any closer to the throne than when the map began. I do have a turn to breathe, however, before the southern reinforcements catch up. Their mismatched movement, combined with the long trek they've marched to get here, means these guys have split themselves up pretty nicely for me already. This, combined with their lower defenses, makes them much easier for me to deal with. After this, I move everyone down anti-clockwise toward the FE11 Medius, who for sure fell off. Lil Bro is doing no types of damage. He's summarily executed by Sirius and Tatiana. I cut a path through the last few heroes and glower users while using Medea as a thief to collect all the treasure. Now, the matter of Hardin. So it turns out Chris beats him 1v1 using the hot glare pretty easily, but I wanted to spice things up and use somebody else to kill him, like Fina. When it was obvious that wouldn't work, I instead used Sita, who kills her boyfriend's bully as a true girl boss should. For legal purposes, you probably shouldn't do that IRL, it's not a good look. In his dying moments, Hardin says some non-evil things, which you shouldn't pay attention to as it goes against the bastardized version of Hardin I've consistently presented on this channel. He drops the Dark Sphere, which automatically inserts itself into the Fire Emblem, along with the other spheres to become the Binding Shield. Marth now permanently receives +2 to all his stats, but loses the effects of the Life, Light, and Geospheres, as well as being unable to use a Star Sphere on other characters. So effectively, I've just permanently lost all of these valuable items. But thanks, game. But at long last, the war against Arcanea is over when Marth ceases. The missing clerics return, and oh, just kidding, it's a prank. It's just a prank, bro. Come on, bro, it's just a prank.
I'm joking! Stop!
Garneth is unsuccessful in his deception and hastens his preparation to revive Medius. It's now our job to go to where they are, the Dragon's Table, deep in Doruan territory, and put an end to Garneth and Medius once and for all. Is what I would say if the assassins didn't exist. Did you forget? Chapter 20X, FE12's final fog of war map, and by far its most annoying one. In this map you fight the leader of the assassins, Aramaya, who uses Meteor, as well as longbow snipers hidden in the fog. Sounds very fun, doesn't it? Some good news is that I have a ton of cash money to blow on a +3 might, +5 hit Brave Lance Forge, named the 10k Lance, after the number of kills this bad boy's gonna get. I start the map by killing the boss, getting aura, getting Excalibur, seizing, bye. This map sucks and I refuse to look at it or talk about it anymore. See you for the next one.